You're going to save time, money, and resources by just having a backup in place. And that alone kind of sells itself to IT managers, clients, whomever. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That came from Mike Tyson, and it couldn't be truer.
That may very well be the first time we've quoted Mike Tyson on this show, and I appreciate it.
You know, that we do for a living what everybody try to avoid for the rest of their lives.
Tariffs, supporting programs, and overcoming AV disasters. All that and more. Next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 728, recorded Friday, August 1st, 2025. Networking AV. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest news and stories in the AV world. This week, we've got awards, sustainability initiatives, and spinoffs. Let's get into it. Trump's trade talk rattles supply chains again. We start with a major shift in U.S. trade policy that could have ripple effects across the AV industry. U.S. President Donald Trump has finalized a sweeping new set of tariffs, marking a break from decades of American trade strategy. The breakdown is this: a 10% universal tariff that will stay in place for countries the U.S. has a trade surplus with, but for about 40 countries where the U.S. runs a trade deficit, the new baseline tariff jumps to 15%. And for a dozen plus nations with the highest deficits, their rates will exceed 15%, some significantly, based on one-on-one letters sent directly from Trump to foreign leaders. The administration is introducing a massive 40% penalties on transshipments. Those are goods rerouted through low tariff countries to sidestep duties. That's on top of existing customs, penalties, and fines. The new tariff policy was expected to go live today, August 1st, but implementation has been delayed until August 7th to give Customs and Border Protection time to update its systems. And of course, Canada, feeling some more heat. President Trump signed an executive order raising tariffs on Canadian goods not covered by USMCA from 25% to 35%. Now, Mexico earned a 90-day reprieve. Canada did not. Business leaders north of the border are calling it, quote unquote, factless tariff turbulence, end quote. Well, I want to say if you are looking at a project, you might want to reassess your procurement timelines, and also, of course, check with vendor orientation points, check with your integrators, and start modeling out potential cost impacts now. Next up, Resideo Technologies announced it will be separating from its distribution arm, ADI Global, forming two standalone public companies. For those in commercial AV, ADI is a key distributor of security AV and networking gear. The move is expected to complete in the first half of 2026 and is intended to give each business more focus and flexibility. For AV professionals, this could mean a more agile ADI with faster decision-making and potentially deeper AV-specific offerings. Something to watch closely if you're a dealer, integrator, or you're looking to purchase. AVR has taken home the 2025 Frost & Sullivan Global Technology Innovation Leadership Award for its contributions to medical-grade PTZ cameras. Company's advanced auto tracking, low latency performance, and compliance with clinical standards helped it stand out in the rapidly growing telehealth and hybrid markets. While AVR is already known in the education and conference space, this marks a strategic expansion into healthcare AV, reminding us that vertical-specific design still matters. And finally, across the pond, our friends over at AV Magazine is launching its first ever AV Sustainability Summit. This is scheduled for October 22nd, 2025. The event will focus on sustainable product development, lifestyle management, and strategies for reducing environmental impact across AV deployments. Now, we've seen manufacturers, as well as some higher education folks, take steps toward greener tech. This summit signals growing pressure across the value chain from manufacturers to integrators to IT decision makers to get serious about sustainability. Whether you're sourcing gear or specifying system design, sustainability is quickly shifting from a nice to have to a expectation. That's your AV news. Stick around for this week's roundtable where we dig into overcoming AV disasters and manufacturers' support programs. This is AV Week.
Hey, listeners, it's your AV sneakerhead, Jennifer Weaver. Listen to AV Career Masterminds, where I chat all things job-related in the audio-visual industry. You can find AV Career Masterminds where you subscribe to podcasts.
All right, welcome back. We now bring in our fantastic roundtable discussion with us to discuss the news and information we have gathered. First and foremost, my dear friend Willie Franklin from Ohio Way. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tim. Always great to be here with you.
Good to see you. Vanessa Talisano. Vanessa is from Kinley. Welcome, ma'am.
Thanks, Tim. Happy to be here.
And a person I met through our fine friends over at PSNI, Samantha Hahn from PCC. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
Samantha, it's the first time Samantha has been on. It took me 15 years to get her on.
A year and a half.
First, not that long. So first story actually comes to us from our friends over across the pond and Tomorrowland. If you didn't see this, Mitchell will put a link to this horrible story. But a severe storm destroyed the main stage just days before the 2025 edition of Tomorrowland. The organizers, AV vendors, everybody and their brother pulled together a near miraculous feat. They rebuilt vast majority of the structure in time for opening night. 350 technicians worked, quote unquote, around the clock, drawing on modular construction, pre-configured AV systems, and failover strategies. Many in the live events and install sectors would do well to study what happened at Tomorrowland, which is exactly what we're going to talk about. They rebuilt, the rebuilt main stage retained nearly all of its original show control design, highlighting the importance of redundancy, documentation, and agile response. Guess what we're going to talk about for the next 5 to 6 minutes? Willie, first question goes to you. What exactly can folks do, whether you are in I'm not going to talk about live events because that's a different show, but really just generically, how do you as an AV technician, as an IT manager, as an IT director, prepare your systems for some sort of failure, catastrophic or not? There's going to be a failure. So how do you prepare for it?
Oh, wow. I was truly shocked and amazed when I read that story and delighted that that team was able to pull things together as quickly as they did to stay on track. And I think the show started maybe 2 hours later than scheduled. That's very impressive. But for me, in building that solid network of documentation, redundancy, that whole preparation is really surrounding yourself with key people. And for me, through the years, building my network of AV and networking professional has been key. That means going to conferences. That means getting to know people. It means exploring everything that your manufacturers have to offer and beyond. There are no fail safes. You know, as I mentioned earlier, as we were chatting on the side, I love camping. So when we take off to go camping, our philosophy is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So having that redundancy, having the backup in place, as a director, if I was out of the office, I could rest knowing that my team had everything covered because there was that redundancy of knowledge. There was that documentation. I think the best thing, one of the best things that perhaps happened as a result of that catastrophe is that it brought to light the importance of that documentation and the backup. It also brought to life the incredible genius, if you will, of modular design, the ease of transmitting information from one entity to the other. So even if your laptop that controlled all the lighting cues for that show was completely fried in the process, if that information lives on the cloud or has been shared with another colleague, it's really just a couple of keystrokes away from being pushed to the next individual who's going to handle that responsibility. The same is true when it comes to the need to get all the physical hardware in place, be it amplifiers, signal processor, truss, the whole host of things that come in on semi-trucks. You know, when you make that call, yeah, you have a broad array of individuals that you're reaching out to, but they're also relying on that system of documentation and in some sense, AI to determine what is the best way to get said freight to that location, given roadways, given delays, given hauling capacities of said trucks, and how quickly can we get staff there? How quickly can we house said staff, be it a hotel or mobile home? Lots of moving parts, but it does not happen in a vacuum. And I'll share this little morsel. Many years ago, the Olympic torch passed through Columbus, Ohio, and my family and I went downtown to see that process. I also had the opportunity to talk.
Wait.
What's that?
Which Olympics was this? Which Olympics? Because I do not recall the Olympics being in Cincinnati.
This was, oh gosh, I want to say 1996. It was in Atlanta, Georgia.
So the Atlanta one. Okay. Continue.
So as it rolled through, as that mass of people rode through Columbus, Ohio, it was impressive to see, but it was even more impressive to talk to the young lady who was the key strategist and coordinator for the movement of that torch. So she's mapping out a game plan weeks in advance of where she and her team will be, from lodging to road closures. Are there low bridges that's going to interfere with semis in their ability to pass through those areas? Again, she's not doing it alone. She has an entire team, but it's all of the planning and it's all of the redundancy and it's building out your network that assured her and her team and the Olympics of success. So, like I said, Tomorrowland was almost guaranteed to happen, and I am just delighted that it took place as scheduled. So kudos to all those who were involved in that process.
All right, Vanessa, from a designing standpoint and a deployment standpoint, one of the areas that often gets, let's call it value engineered, is backups, is those redundancies, is the ability to have exactly what Willie was talking about, is those backup systems. How do you have that conversation with an IT manager? How do you have that conversation with a decision maker when they are 100% concerned about budget, and they should be, but they do need, quite frankly, a backup plan?
Yeah, I mean, I really like what Willie brought up about the Olympic, the torch being passed down, and all the planning that went behind it. One of the most important ways to overcome setbacks is through planning and contingency plans. So if an AV system fails or a component gets damaged, having spare equipment, backup power, and clear procedures allows the team to act quickly and minimize downtime. If you're minimizing downtime, if you're acting efficiently, that alone is reducing costs. It doesn't, I was going to say it doesn't cost much to have spare equipment, but it depends on what equipment you're talking about. But in the grand scheme of things, you're going to save time, money, and resources by just having a backup in place. And that alone kind of sells itself to IT managers, clients, whomever. Something else that Willie started going into. So everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That came from Mike Tyson, and it couldn't be truer. Flexibility and being quick to adapt are so key. When unexpected things come up, whether it's equipment failure or technical glitches, being able to adapt and troubleshoot on the spot really makes all the difference. Quick thinking, calm, problem-solving mindsets allow teams to find creative solutions and keep the events on track.
That may very well be the first time we've quoted Mike Tyson on this show, and I appreciate it. So, it really is. It's one of my favorite quotes. It really is. I love that. Samantha, same kind of question is how do you talk to clients about this? And again, it's not exciting. It's not a pretty video wall, right? It's not, an awesome microphone. It's backups. It's redundancies. So Samantha, how do you make that case to clients and say, look, something's going to happen. You're going to get hit in the mouth and you need to be prepared for it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're difficult conversations to happen because when somebody buys a room system from us, right, it's a brand new system, brand new equipment. They're expecting it to last forever. They always do. And they're expecting it to not have any problems for a while, a lengthy while. And so it's a difficult conversation to have with them because that's their interpretation of brand new purchase. And we know better that it's equipment, it's failure points, it's technology, things happen, things go rogue. And you have to have those redundancies in place in order to pick up the pieces quickly and get that system back online. I do want to add too, I took a little bit different aspect out of this article as a business owner, right? So my immediate reaction to it was, how do we prevent this from happening in the first place, right? So yes, redundancies are great, backup plans are great, but all those things that stood out to me, the makeup of the stage, the fireworks going off there, all of those things, try pitching that to your insurance company after the fact. Like, hey, yeah, we chose this material and maybe we shouldn't have, who's paying the tab at the end of the day with all of those things too. That's kind of where my mind goes, is how do we train our people? How do we make the best decisions on the front end to make sure that those things never happen? Now, you don't get that hero moment, right? You don't get to pull everybody together, pull in all your resources, like Willie said. Exactly why I go to all those trade shows. I host lunch and learns. I meet with vendors, all of those reasons, because when things do go bad, you need somebody to be able to pick up the phone and help you out in a pinch, and that's exactly what they had. But again, I think the preventing, risk management, all of those things are more important than the reaction,
If I could just keep going with that, Samantha, every setback is an opportunity to learn. After any major issue, conducting a thorough postmortem to understand what went wrong, that helps build resilience for future projects or events or whatever it may be. This continuous learning process, it makes teams better prepared to handle future challenges. So that postmortem and what did we learn and that resilience from it, that is super important. So thank you for bringing that up.
Next story is from a friend over at Netgear. Netgear has launched a new suite of professional services, quite frankly, aimed at B2B and Pro AV clients. This includes design validation, network configuration, and technical support tailored to the growing complexity of AV over IP systems. Quite frankly, this really makes it clear that Netgear wants to be more than just a hardware vendor. They're looks like the positioning themselves for long-term infrastructure partner in both the AV and the IT space. This could also mean stronger life cycle support from Netgear, fewer networking headaches, and also a shift in how AV networks are procured and maintained. Vanessa, I want to start with you on this. When you look at something like this from a hardware manufacturer generically, we can talk about Netgear specifically if we want, but what this led me down was, when you're looking at a service like this directly from a hardware manufacturer, is this something that you're looking for? Is this something that your clients are looking for? Or I guess the best question is why is Netgear doing this? Is it something the market is asking for? Is services directly from the manufacturer?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I can confidently say that this is something that AV integrators and clients are absolutely looking for. So, funny enough, the question that is on this topic, it was, what do we need and expect from manufacturers' support programs? So I kind of worked my way backwards on this, and I was thinking about what are those things that I'd be looking for. Clear communication, technical expertise, quick response times, reliable support channels, proactive support, system optimization. I could go on, but after I sorted through all those different things of this is what I'd be looking for, I then went into the Netgear story and I took a look at what are their professional service offerings: network design, configuration assistance, technical training, and system optimization. Almost everything that I had already thought in advance of, this is what I would want. So I think Netgear is doing a great job of hitting the nail on the head of what people are looking for. I think there's two major components that are probably the most important. That would be the quick response times, the reliable support channels, whether it's over the phone, chat, on-site support, whatever it is. In live environments, even minor delays can cause major disruptions. I mean, we just talked about that with the Tomorrowland disaster. Granted, that's a little bit of a different vein, but I think it still relates here. We need support programs that guarantee quick response times, effective solutions, especially when integrating AV with enterprise networks where downtime impacts everything. And then one of the second other major component that I want to focus on, which I think gets overlooked a lot, is the training and resources for end users and installers. So we value as integrators extensive training resources for both end users and our installers. Manufacturers that invest in comprehensive support programs, it empowers users, it reduces service calls, and it just creates smoother operations. The launch of professional services by Netgear definitely signals their commitment to supporting not just the hardware, but also the knowledge base around their systems. So I would love to see other manufacturers follow Netgear's lead with us. And I think we are going to see it because we're going to get great value out of it. So very excited.
Samantha, same kind of question is what do we expect out of our manufacturing partners, whether it's, support, like Vanessa said, or, the training after the fact, design systems, what do we expect out of manufacturing?
Yeah, I completely agree with Vanessa. I think Netgear has found a way to fill a gap in the industry that we all know has been there for years. Some of the top manufacturers are not doing this well. They've all tried a little bit, but, Cisco, Extreme, they're just not proficient on both sides of IT and AV. So now Netgear being the one that's coming in and doing so is a huge, answered prayer, right? It's going to do a lot of things for Netgear too. I think it's brand protection and risk management on their part. They want to be able to serve as both sides of the aisle and bring those two things together. So it allows them to not take a black eye on either side of the aisle. And, now it's going to give us an opportunity to have AV and IT operate on the same physical switches and bridge those networks together. It also takes a lot of burden off of us as integrators because oftentimes we're the translator, if you will, bridging all of those conversations together and telling them what we need. And then IT figures out how to make it happen or vice versa. And so now it's a seamless integration versus this divide. So certainly something that needed to happen, and I'm glad that they did it.
Samantha, really quickly, because I want to get you a follow up on this one. You said not take a black eye on either side of the aisle. What exactly do you mean on that?
So basically what I mean by it is, hardware is always the thing that people blame, right? So if somebody walks in, let's just say Extron, Crestron, whatever, they walk in, they see a control panel, it has one of those brands on it, and the room is failing. They're like, my Crestron room stinks. My Extron room stinks. So Netgear doesn't want to be blamed for a failure by IT or by AV. So this allows them to say, hey, listen, we're meeting both of your needs. We're helping you guys meet in the middle. And that's kind of what I'm getting at there is that they don't have a bad look on either side of the aisle.
Well, the same question here is from an end user standpoint, somebody that worked many years in higher education, would you see this as I'm gonna put words in your mouth, so correct me here, as cheating by the integration firm because they're leaning more on manufacturing? Would you expect them to have the expertise, or would you expect them to lean more on the expertise of the manufacturer since they're the one who built the box anyway?
Okay. Lots of thoughts running through my head. And first and foremost, Samantha and Vanessa, you brought up such salient points. The whole notion of not getting a black eye and just delivering more to the end user. So, and I'll try to be brief. For me to answer this, I kind of have to go back in history a little bit with regards to my time there at Otterbein University. Back in our nursing program, the nursing professors used to videotape using VHS camcorders these students and the clinical labs, and then they would review said tapes. Flash a little bit forward, they then started sending that to via an encoder to DVD recorders, and that was fine, but it was still all cumbersome. So as we sat down and thought about what is the best tool that we can provide with today's technology, I was tasked with integrating and designing a online system that would push everything to a cloud as well as localize digital hard drives. So students would log in, and now with ceiling mounted cameras and microphones, no gear to set up, automated mannequins, basically hospital settings, students would enter in and go through their procedures at any time that they desired within that clinical environment. That content was then available 24/7 per faculty to view either on-site on campus or at home. Now, the big piece of this, and thinking about what Netgear has done, and I won't name the manufacturer in this case, but one of the things that our integrating company or the company we work with did is similar to Netgear. They provided like a 360 service, right? So for a networking team, we could reach this group at any time and talk in real time with them. They could look at the system and analyze problems in real time. That same support manufacturer provided personnel who could speak directly, if you will, the language of our faculty members. You know, what do you need this room to accomplish? How do you expect students to interface with the control panels? In other words, the company that we had the pleasure of working with was truly concerned not only with selling a good product and integrating a good product and working with us to engineer the design of said product within those spaces, but they want to know that the end users' goals and needs were being fully met. So I think it's genius that Netgear has been very public and saying, we're going to do this in a whole new way. We're going to make certain that everything is working for you from a budget standpoint, from an innovation standpoint, from an end user system operation, the GUI interface. We're going to take all the chaos out of it and just make it work for you. And we're going to do that by communicating with you, by listening to you, and redesigning when we need to so that it works fully for you. I hope that wasn't too long, but that gives a little snapshot into my thinking on what Netgear is doing. I think it's brilliant.
It just makes sense. It's one of those aha moments where you're like, how has this not been done already? It makes sense, and this is what we need. And as far as what you're asking, Tim, do you think that it's our system integrators cheating by leaning on support services like this? Absolutely not. It goes down to leveraging resources and using whatever we can to provide the best customer user experience possible. So if that means that we're using our internal SMEs, internal engineers, or leaning on manufacturers that design the products that we are installing and putting our stamp on, whatever it takes to make it work.
I like that idea. Whatever it takes. All right, gang. That'll do it for us. Mr. Willie Franklin, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Just look for Willie Franklin. You can also reach me via email, 2 email addresses. One will be wfranklin@otterbein.edu, my former institution of employment. And of course, I can be reached at my DJ service, which is franklinDJservices@gmail.com.
Vanessa, thank you, ma'am. How do people connect with you or Kinley?
Yeah, you can find us at kinley.com, and you can find me on LinkedIn at Vanessa Tolosano. You can also reach out to me via email at vtolosano@kinley.com. And if you don't know how to spell my last name, just look at my LinkedIn.
Samantha, thank you so much. You were fantastic. How do people connect with you or PCC?
Check out our website, pccav.com, and then you can find me on LinkedIn, Samantha Hahn /CTS. And my email is shahn@pccav.com.
My name is Tim Albright. Do not follow me anywhere on the socials because as of last night, the NFL kicked off, sort of, kind of. So I'll be complaining about the Bears for the next 6 months. If you would like to read anything that I write, has nothing to do with AV, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, but go by the website if you would, please. AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. You will find this program and a host of others. And my passport's getting a workout this year. I will be in Vegas. You don't need a passport for Vegas, at least I don't. The 18th and the 21st for Bixby Beyond. And then we are heading over to IBC. That's the passport part. IBC, which is the broadcast show over in Amsterdam for Europe. So that is the 12th to the 15th of September. We will have coverage of both of those shows. on the website. So go by the website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That's all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AV Nation.
This is AVNation.